Hello, welcome back to Toy Thursday with Johnny Tiger. I almost forgot what day it is. Um, the date is March 16, 2023. Now, in front of the camera, we're seeing a very big, muscular guy, and some of you may remember that this guy was featured last year. Yes, this is one time that I clearly remembering featuring this guy, uh, the Rage, the kid who's trapped inside a giant, muscular adult body, a 14-year-old kid in a superhuman body. Yeah, I remember that episode. So even though he doesn't look like our subject of the day, he is a great one to open the show with. Because today we're celebrating the Incredible Kid Day. Now, what is the Incredible Kid Day? Well, Incredible Kid Day is celebrated on the third Thursday of every March. And it was started by Campfire US back in 1997. The goal of this day, the objective of the day, is for you to express some love and appreciation to your own kid or someone else's kid and just tell them how incredible, how awesome they are. Okay? Kids are the future of our world, at least that's what they tell me. So we are supposed to make them feel good once in a while and tell them just how amazingly wonderful and awesome and incredible they are. Even though I think most parents, if they're good parents, you're supposed to tell your kids that every day, but it doesn't hurt to take a special day out to tell your kid just how incredible they really are. Now, before we continue to today's episode, you know what's coming. There's that little announcement that I've been announcing all week. This Saturday, some of the Tiger tactile arts will be available on display and for purchase here locally in BC at the Century House at New Westminster. The Century House is located inside Moody Park and will be there from 12 to 3 in the Spruce Room. There will be 5 to 6 pieces of artwork for you to go through and for you to purchase if you wish. And at the very least, I hope some of you will drop by to say hi. Now, without further ado, let's bring in our main focus of the day and celebrate just how incredible a kid he is. And really, he is quite incredible. And I'm going to try my best to convey to you just how incredible this kid is. Now, this good looking fellow with a crazy yellow, golden, spiky hair should be no stranger to people who know their anime and Japanese comic books and literature and pop culture. But to most of you who are not into that kind of stuff, and especially if you didn't know, you didn't follow the Dragon Ball cartoons, then you wouldn't know what this guy's deal is. And honestly, I don't really want to sit here and try to explain uh, what exactly is the whole story of Dragon Ball, and because honestly, it's kind of stupid, and honestly, it's really complicated and convoluted, and uh, so let me give you guys a short version of what Dragon Ball is about. Okay, so Dragon Ball is about this race of alien, or humanoid alien. They look kind of like human. That ended up on Earth. Some of them become good guys. Some of them become bad guys, and they have crazy powers like flight and throw fireballs and blow up mountains with their finger. Like they can blow things up very easily. These are like the power these guys have is just totally ridiculous. Okay, and for the most part, they look like human, except when they go through their transformation. when they power up and get serious, they turn into what's called Super Saiyan. Uh, Super Saiyan, or Saiyan being the race of these aliens, Super Saiyan is when they get angry and when they power up and their hair change. So normally their hair is like black, and then when they change into Super Saiyan, their hair go all crazy and spiky and um, go they turn like yellow or blonde kind of color, and almost the entire Dragon Ball show is about these guys beating each other up, fighting evil, becoming good, and fighting this guy, that guy to save the universe. You know, the generic stuff. Originally, there was really supposed to only be one Super Saiyan. Okay, like Super Saiyan was supposed to be something special. Only one of them should be able to do that. It was like a status, like a thing that once in a million years, only one of you is going to turn into the Super Saiyan. So every one of you have to work very hard because you never know who is going to become the Super Saiyan and save the world. Yeah, in the beginning it was supposed to be that like that, and then about not even halfway through the storyline, you start to realize that, oh, I guess we're not going by that anymore because look like anyone who's anybody can turn into a Super Saiyan if they try hard enough. And then Super Saiyan is not even that interesting anymore because uh, further down the story, they have to have Super Saiyan level 1, Super Saiyan level 2, Super Saiyan level 3, Super Saiyan level 4, and they just get stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger, and like uh, uh, their hair gets weirder and weirder. Like I said, it's a little bit stupid, but hey, it's made for children, so what do you expect? Um, what does that have to do with this guy? Well, in front of the camera, this good-looking fellow with the spiky blonde hair, he is one of the Saiyans. And this is what he looked like as a Super Saiyan. His name is, and I wish I was making this up. I'm not. His name is Trunks. Trunks. Yeah, his family name is even worse. His family name is Brief. So one of the kind of running joke in the whole Dragon Ball series uh, is that the author like to use English word to make up people's name. Like there's a guy whose name's Broly. His name comes from the word broccoli, and there's a guy's name's Kakarot, and his name comes from carrot, and so on and so on. Like almost everyone's name come from some weird uh, deformation of English word. So Trunks and his family, their name all come from clothing items like garments, like underwears especially. So his name is Trunks, and his family name is Brief, and so on and so on. I don't know if there's anyone in their family named Bikini. It wouldn't surprise me. Um, so long story short, Trunks' mom is a human woman. Trunks' dad is Vegeta, who is the prince of Saiyans, the alien race I was talking about, this freaking superhuman alien race. So Vegeta, the Saiyan prince, married a human woman, and they had a kid, and the kid turned out to be Trunks. So Trunks is like half alien, half human. Yeah, that already makes him kind of cool, right? Now, what made him even cooler is that out of all these characters that like to throw fireballs and uh, energy blast and laser beams and punch and kick each other, I mean, Trunks does all that too, but he actually is quite stylish in that he likes to use a sword. again, that just automatically set him into that really cool category, because unlike everyone else, he actually uses a weapon sometimes. I mean, a lot of time he's not really that serious about using his sword because honestly, when you have creatures and people that can catch a nuclear bomb with their bare hand or fly into the sun or stuff like that, what's the sword going to do? Nothing, right? Uh, but eventually, he got his sword upgraded to be some kind of like a really special sword that can cut through everything and anything. And so by that time, the sword became more of a uh, more useful for him. Like I said, of all these characters who like to throw punches and kicks and energy blast, here's a guy who does all that, but he also will sometimes whip out his sword and go barbaric or medieval on his opponent. That's just like really really cool. Um, I will say this, and I said it before. I'm not a really big Dragon Ball fan, and I think you can already tell if you have watched this episode this far. You can tell by the way I talk about it. I'm not a big fan of Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball was more of my younger brother's thing when we were teenagers, and I watched it, but more so to keep him company. And so we had something to talk about. But even though I wasn't really big into Dragon Ball, I remember the first time when Trunks here was introduced, and he was so friggin' cool. like, like, uh, he just came out of nowhere as this mysterious, good-looking young man, while the rest of the guys were preparing for these really scary alien warlords. These alien warlords were going to come to Earth and exact vengeance for being defeated before. And everyone's like super nervous because they weren't sure if they could handle uh, not just one, but two of these alien warlords. And then, out of nowhere, Trunks showed up and he just like carved them up with his sword single-handedly. He didn't even have to exert himself that much. So, like, his entrance was definitely very, very dramatic. Now, technically speaking, this guy's full title should be Future Trunks. And this is why I say the whole story is really stupid and really complicated. Because there's actually two Trunks uh, in the Dragon Ball show. There's a young Trunks, and then there's a future Trunks. I don't care for young Trunks, but I do really love future Trunks as a character. Uh, and that is the character we're looking at right here. So future Trunks, normally he has like lavender colored hair, blue eyes. He is a slender but well built young man, about 5'7". He weighs about 130 pounds, so he kind of lean, and he's not very big. But whenever you see him fight in Dragon Ball, he's like super serious and really quite badass. I mean, he kind of get overshadowed by some of the main characters like Goku and Vegeta and those guys. But he's only half alien. He's not like full-blooded alien, so you can't really compare him to those crazy guys. Uh, but despite that, he has a very stable, very steady power level and fighting style that is definitely uh, make him that kind of a very lovable character. Not to mention he's good looking and he got a sword. Sometimes he's depicted like this, wearing a jacket and kind of like a baggy pants. I'm not sure if that those pants are supposed to be like gi pants or are they supposed to be jeans? To me, they kind of seem like they're gi pants. Like I said, I don't really know Dragon Ball. Like what the heck are those clothes they wear? Um, but yeah, and he seemed like he has kind of a scarf around his neck that Uh, it's kind of wrinkly in front of his chest. There's some uh, iteration of Future Trunks where he's just wearing a muscle shirt, and he in those are times when you can see uh, he's more muscular. But in this version, it's his more standard outlook. It's like jacket, pants, no overt musculature, nothing like that. It's just a guy with really weird, spiky golden hair. In well, I mean, honestly, this is the kind of outfit that you can probably see yourself wearing if you want to, and people wouldn't really think you're too weird. So what else makes Trump so incredible as a kid? Well, one of the things that make him really incredible is that he's a time traveler. This is why he's called Future Trunks, obviously. So um, basically, think of it like Dragon Ball copied Terminator a little bit. Okay, so in the distant future, there were these killer android, killer robots that started killing everybody, and everybody died, and nobody could beat them. So Trunks, who by then like 16 or 17 years old, decided, okay, we can't beat them in this timeline. We have to go back into the past to beat them before they get invented. So well, actually, his mom made him a time machine to send him back to the past to warn everybody about the killer robot. But by doing so, I'm trying to keep this as non-complicated as possible. By doing so, he created the time paradox. So he created, rather than just saved his world, by going back in the past and changing things around, he created another timeline where everybody ended up defeating the evil robot, but there were even worse threats in the future waiting for him. So for most of his storyline, Future Trunks, we can call him time traveling Trunks. He just like basically travel around, uh, back in time, forward in time, different universe, trying to fix the things that he broke by accident. So he's almost like a savior of the world. He's like uh, 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 the Reese of from Terminator. He's like Reese from Terminator, just in the Dragon Ball universe, who travel back in time and try to save his people, but ended up failing that and screwing things up, and then he kind of got stuck traveling around time trying to fix this, fix that, and things just kept getting worse and worse. And he had a lot of different adventures, creating different timelines and stuff like that. Um, Kind of similar to Cable from Marvel Comics as well. Now, I mean, the whole time travel thing is a little bit kind of a niche thing for. I mean, for some people, they really love time traveling in stories. I myself, I hate time traveling in storyline because it makes the storyline really wonky and hard to follow. But with that said, I think worthwhile mentioning is in Dragon Ball, in the Dragon Ball universe, a lot of people they don't really have a lot of real personality or like the kids like Gohan and young Trunks, they just worry about playing all the time. And then uh, when danger show up, they fight. They fight bad guys. Right? And then Goku, all he does is train, 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 eat, 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 and then fight bad guys. And Vegeta, train and eat, and fight bad guys. It's like these guys never have anything really all that serious they're worrying about. They just do whatever they feel like doing, and then when bad guys show up, okay, let's go fight some bad guys. Yeah, but Trunks, at least future Trunks, it's very different. Like this guy actually has a purpose. His whole existence is him traveling around time, traveling around the world, trying to fix the world, trying to fix his own timeline so his mom and his friend won't get killed. So I think that's another reason why I like him because I feel that Future Trunks is a lot more adult uh, than the rest of the characters. Now, this action figure is made by Bandai America, and I have just mentioned them 2 episodes ago when I talked about their action figure of the character also from Dragon Ball called Broly. And I expressed how much I was disappointed and how annoyed I was that Broly was so poorly made. And Trunks here is a good example of why I was so annoyed with Broly. Because if you look at Trunks, Trunks is a really well-made action figure. Okay, he has some problems, but and we'll get to that in a second. But he is, oh no, very well sculpted. Everything on him is very functional. His form looks really good, and he comes with a lot of accessories. And his articulations work for the most part really, really well. Like this is how Broly should have been made. Okay, so I just don't understand why Bandai America is so uh, inconsistent in the quality of their action figure. Some figures, some characters come out super, super nice, like Trunks here. But some characters like Broly, it was like, what the heck did they skip a step in approving this figure? Like, how did this even get approved? Yeah, I just can't really understand it. So anyway, Trunks, this trunk was released in 2021, and this version comes packed with a lot of accessories. He has 3 pairs of hands. I've already shown 2 pairs of hands on screen now, and I'm going to show you guys a third pair right now. The first pair of hands is sort of the item holding hands, so he can hold his sword. And the second pair of hands that I showed a few minutes ago, that those are open palm hands, or like almost like a clawing gesture. Those are so you can pose him in when he wants to throw his fireball or energy attack. And then he got these fisted hands, like a pair of nice solid little fists that he can punch the bad guys with. In addition to the 3 pairs of hands, he also comes with a sheath for his sword that he can carry on his back. Now, the sword itself is interesting, okay? Unlike a lot of other action figures where you get a sheath, you get a sword. If you don't want to use the sword, put the sword in the sheath. Okay, that makes sense, right? But that's not how Trunks here is made. Uh, when you pull the sword out of the sheath, it's not a complete sword. It's actually just like a little stub. So it's like they make this fake sword that you can add the hilt onto the sheath to make it look like the sword is inside the sheath. Like that. A tiny little stub of the sword right here. And then you get the actual sword itself that you can put in his hand. I don't know why don't they just make the sheath functional so you can put this sword inside the sheath. It just perplexes me why they would even do like a complete sword and a half sword to do the weird. Okay, I'm putting the sword in my sheath, so I'm going to plug the hilt into the sheath. Nonsense. Okay. Anyway, weird design, but actually a lot of Japanese toys have been doing things like that, so maybe that's what they're trying to copy. Uh, he also comes with a broken sword. Now, this is not one of those situations, thank God. This is not one of those situations where you open the package and say, oh shit, my action figure got a broken sword. No, no, no. This is supposed to be broken, okay? In one episode, when Trunks fought a really seriously scary bad guy who totally kicked his butt, uh, his sword got shattered. his sword got broken. And so in this case, they included the broken sword, so you can reenact a scene like that when he gets his sword broken. Uh, Now, even more impressive, now I'm going to show you guys the most impressive accessory that comes with this action figure. You see, when he got his sword broken, Trunks tapped into his like chi or his energy or what like untapped rage or whatever, and he generated an energy sword out of the broken sword and was able to cut down the villain with that in the end, and that was like totally cool. He got this massive uh, sword made out of energy, like a lightsaber on steroid or something. So we have an effect piece that will simulate that. Just look at that. I mean, that energy sword is almost bigger than his whole body. And unfortunately, while it does look super cool, it makes it almost impossible to balance him when he has it in his hand. Like this thing is solid. It's heavy. It's heavier, almost heavier than him. Now, in the show, when he did this, obviously it's energy, so it didn't weigh anything, so that's fine. But this is a heavy ass chunk of plastic that constantly pull him off balance. The figure comes with a little display piece, a little stand you can clip onto his foot to hopefully help him balance a little bit. And you can sort of get him to balance with a bit of work, like I have here. But it's hard work. I'm not going to lie. If you want to display him with the energy sword, good luck. He's really hard to display with it, even though it makes him look so bloody cool. I have been moving his body around in various poses throughout this video. So you can see that Trunks is very well articulated. He has double jointed elbows and knees, shoulders move in, out, all around, head move. Now, uh, I will mention a few of the places where he should move better, but he doesn't. There's barely any torso movement. Like he can turn his waist, but he can't crunch forward or lean back. There's no forward back torso movement. There's very little up and down head movement. Those are the only two areas that this action figure have issues. But other than that, his arms, legs, ankles, wrists, all work beautifully. It is a great action figure. Now, before I go, I'm going to bring Rage back and do a quick size comparison. We're going to have a really big kid standing next to a relatively small kid, and you'll see how small Trunks is compared to someone like Rage. Despite me not liking Dragon Ball all that much and me really having some issues with Bandai America's action figures, Future Trunks is one of the very few really likable characters in Dragon Ball, in my opinion, anyway. No offense to those of you who enjoy Dragon Ball. I'm glad you like it, but just not my cup of tea. And the Future Trunks action figure is very enjoyable as well from a company that unfortunately produces some questionable action figures here and there. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and don't forget, if you have a kid in your life, tell them how incredible and amazing they are today, tomorrow, every day.